Hey there, divine, beautiful soul, infinity. Here it is 10:31 p.m. here in the Pacific on the 5th of January, and I was guided to get some messages for us. If you're guided to this video, then there are definitely messages for you. And I don't know what just happened. I did about 15 minutes, maybe less, maybe 10 minutes of tapping in and starting to get messages. We are going to do some cards, but first I'm being guided to take the dictation to open up to see what comes through. And something happened with the video. I don't know what happened, but it was just like recorded 0 seconds. It was the strangest thing. So I have notes here that I took, which was interesting because I'm like, why do I keep taking notes? Why aren't I just talking about it? But here we are. So I saw the encodement 33333s, and then immediately felt Elo, who is also known as Jesus. I've been working with Jesus for many years now, and I will put in the description of this video a channeling that I did for him a couple of years ago, where he gets into who he is, his real name, the Jesus wound, that's also the religion wound. But anyway, he has come through. He said this is for all spiritually awakening people, those really in the last year, and even in the last month, from the last month of 23 to the last month of 24, and now going into 2025. He says there's a lot of excitement going through the rabbit holes of spiritual awakening, and that's something that is like a bug that you get. You have to explore and seek, and you're just, understanding that there's a lot that was flippity flop in your perception, like what you thought was real is not, what you thought wasn't is, and you're just learning more and more. And there's so many different types of themes and topics and subjects and things to learn and get into, from astrology to numerology to healing modalities, plant medicines, just all sorts of stuff, just everything in between. And but it can be very disruptive, because literally your consciousness is shifting and changing, and it's rewiring and reformatting how you perceive yourself, the world, the universe, energy, being who and what you are, reality, light, dark, all sorts of stuff. And there's just a lot there. There's a lot you can get into. And Elo's coming in to say there can be many distractions. And to stay within yourself. Stay with yourself instead of getting distracted away from things that don't help you heal and connect to you and your soul, your guides and guardians, to make you more stable, because there could be a lot out there you can spend your time on that could be considered, spirituality, but it's not helping you to evolve. It's just you're learning things, and that is in itself evolution, and that's why it can be confusing. But it's outside of you. The focus is outside of you, not within you. And that is really the priority when you start to spiritually awaken, is that you focus on you, because to maximize anything that you may learn, you have to be as stable and as in balance as you possibly can be. So stay within yourself, notice when you're being distracted. And then what's really cool here, he says that there is this group, this soul pod, this soul group that I am picking up on, that this is what this is yeah, this is a group of people who have, oh, that's where I was getting at before when it all turned off. And I'm seeing the 1038 encodement as well right now. Okay, so this soul group and soul pod really, they had either light to none religious background. They were brought up like either as atheists or just whatever kind of loosey-goosey spirituality, maybe, but most likely not. And if so, that was not something you like grew up with. It's, you know, stuff that you explored on your own. Really interesting. And what's really funny is that this group, this soul pod, again, you could have been starting to get conscious before, you know, December 2023, but really starting to spiritually awaken definitely was 2024. Most likely in the later half, since August, it really turned up. And you maybe you've always thought crystals and rocks were cool and pretty and whatever, they're natural, you can't, there's like, it's undeniable that, so, you know, they're pretty or fascinating or, you know, whatever, whether, no matter what, but to think that they're like powerful and healing and help you, and like basically this soul pod is more like their level before awakening was just like, oh my god, that is just so annoying or lame, or just did not understand or get the crystal thing. But as you have been awakening, you're definitely getting the crystal thing. So like for sure, like it's big right here. Crystals. And then mostly there's rainbow moonstone, green moonstone, clear moonstone. I'm missing, but there's several moonstone, clear quartz, and specifically points that came through. So this kind of action, and amethyst for sure, amethyst, and then angels, guardians, archangels, puppies, no, lay down please. These people have definitely discovered tarot and oracle. I'm feeling more heavy with the oracle for, you know, if you have dabbled for yourself, you've been more drawn to the oracle. If you've like gotten your own decks, they've most likely been oracle, not tarot. You've also been picking up on the dragons. If you did not watch my video, my daily video from today, Sunday the 5th, I highly recommend it. Tarot, This group is into tarot, but watching people on video like me on YouTube and such doing tarot. So others with the tarot, but getting into Oracle for yourself. There's this sense of like I'm getting this vision of like being right up against a wall. Wall energy. So blocked, confused about next steps, who to believe in, what's true. Well, these are, I mean, this is good. What's true, because that's what we want to do. We want to seek the truth. We want to be guided to people who are true and real, incarnates of the light to connect to. Like what, like there's so many options for how to proceed, like what, you know, psychic to go to, what services to get, what healing to get, what groups to join, what articles to read, what books to read, what things to watch, what, like there's just a lot of questions. And wanting answers. I didn't spell that right. Such a weird word. The way it's spelled. I've made a mess of it. Answers. Such a weird word. So this is good because you're, you know, this group is discerning. You know, you're not easily like you're not gullible. Not gullible, which is good. Very stable, logical, rational. Like a lot of us are. Most of us. Not a lot. I mean, like most people of spiritually awakening and are on the ascension path had very normal, rational. Like we didn't. It's not like we had like a history of mental illness and, you know, like we always had a different experience, but we didn't really understand why, as empaths, as light beings, as divine incarnates, you know. But you were not a wooey person. Like there, you maybe dabbled, maybe entertained things, intrigued, curious, but not like, it's not like you spent your whole life like into the woo stuff, into the occult, into the mystical, into the spiritual. Like there's a lot under this umbrella that is new to you and this group of people. And it's just like, how do we move forward? How do I know who to trust, who to follow, what to believe? It's really kind of confusing. And that's true because the dark side does work in the spiritual realm, posing as the light with enough truth that for people who are just waking up, like feel that it's true because part of it is, but they're not completely clear to really understand that it's just partly true, not totally true, that there's a level of falsehood and lies and deceit that's connected to those stories and programs and whatever that it happens to be. So that is definitely true. So it really is important to, you know, I suggest, you know, really perusing a person's output of what they, you know, do. Like for me, I have podcasts and videos and articles, and I have books on the way, need to be finished. I used to have a set of ebooks, but I've integrated them into the new books that I'm doing. But in any case, you want to get a good feel of somebody, and especially see some real deal testimonials. Like on my website, there's written testimonials, there's video testimonials, people actually talking to the camera, my past clients who endorse me. And I'm definitely the real deal. I have and offer many ways to move you along in a very unique, organic, loving, supportive way. And I have many different options, and more are coming. I just started channeling earlier a whole new thing I'm doing that is going to be really, really cool, especially for those who are on the ascension path, who want to take that seriously but need guidance and need a supportive group of other people doing the same thing. So that is coming. I do have that in various ways already, but I have a whole new thing coming that I'm super, super stoked on. So I suggest, you know, you were guided to me in the first place. You're watching this video. Obviously, you've come this far. There is, I am obviously resonating with you with these messages. The idea here is if you do resonate with these messages, you do feel and pick up that I actually am the real deal. A divine incarnate, psychic, physical empath, quantum distance healer, medium, medical medium, psychic, spiritual guide, channel, vessel for the divine. My purpose in life is to help people awaken and come into their full power, to manifest, magnetize, collaborate with the universe, their guides and guardians, to bring in and live out their most golden timelines, to fulfill your soul missions, your life purpose, all that good stuff. But maybe this is as far as we go and you move on, but keep with the messages that the idea here is that the discerning nature that you have, not being gullible, wanting direction, but just not sure where to get it. Just have the intention, keep doing what you're doing. Have the intention that you want direction. You will be sent to the people, places, spaces, and experiences, and all the things for what you need. You just have to engage and activate and, you know, make it happen. Okay, let's get, yeah, I'm being guided. Let's get a couple of cards here. Oh, okay. Oh my God. Oh. Starseed Oracle. It's very muted. Very pastel muted oracle deck. I actually haven't done much with this deck in quite some time. It's been a hot minute since I've done anything with this oracle deck. And I got a little bit of copal in there. You guys can see that. There we go. Share the fire. So just know that, you know, whatever you're experiencing, especially as somebody who really did not have like a spiritual background, even with religion, because that's like a double-edged sword. Sometimes it's like yeah, it's better to not have that background really, so you're not fully indoctrinated, and you know, you have to go through that detanglement, disconnection, cord, energy cord, blah blah blah, for religion, and have a, you know, maybe really gnarly wounds from that, but at the same time, not having, you know, being brought up atheist or not spiritual at all, there is a whole it's quite the little fire we got going here. Just a bit much. That Palo Santo really caught on fire. Just fine. So yeah, so not having any and like having the opposite, like being, it's just two sides of the same coin. One person, you know, brought up fully in religion has that to detangle from, and the other person who was, you know, kept from it or you know, thought it was ridiculous or stupid, and you know, people that believe in, you know, whatever, all religions, you know, that none of that is real, et cetera, you know, when you die, and there's no such thing as ascended masters or angels or past lives or whatever. And then they wake up and then they're like, oh shit, they start to, you know, really tap in and understand that, oh yeah, actually that stuff is true. Ooh, whereas the, you know, the person indoctrinated believes a certain framework for that stuff, and it's hard to get out of it. So with you and this soul group or soul pod, this person had light to none, no religious backgrounds, but you're, you know, this taps in with your discerning and not being gullible and wanting direction. Help, community, I'm hearing. I have a great community. I'm hearing a soft place to land. Just to feel safe and secure in your ascension, in your healing. And that's truly what I'm here for. So if not me, something like that. Okay, so this is what's coming through. Karmic relationships, Orion energy, polarity, soul growth, conflict. Okay, so let me grab the book. Karmic relationships. Card number 28, page 84. Oh, almost. It was one page. Oh no, 2 pages off. So close. Okay, I need my glasses. For sure. The constellation Orion is thought by many to have been a place of great polarity and eventual unity. Some believe that many starseeds who were part of this cosmic history are incarnate on Earth now and are playing out karmic relationships from Orion times. Perhaps you're one of them. Oh, maybe this is a soul pod from Orion. Okay, let's continue. Polarity causes conflict and highlights separation. However, because of this, conflict can also result in unity and growth. Too many misunderstandings are caused when we don't open our heart and mind and see things from a different point of view. When we go into reactive second-guessing mode instead of gathering the courage to open our heart, we should admit that we may have reacted because of our own woundings and then found mutual ground. We're all innocent children looking to be seen, understood, and cherished. It's much harder to grow closer through conflict than it is to grow through It's much harder to grow closer through conflict than it is to grow further apart. Oh, okay. Sorry, that was confusing. And yet, that's the invitation to of conflict. That's the invitation of conflict, to grow closer than apart. Okay. It's more challenging to see the innocence of all involved and find a way to grow closer through the conflict. It's through relationships that we grow the most. How can you soften your heart and drop your defenses enough to see things from a different point of view? How can you see the innocence of all involved? How can you learn to see the similarities rather than the differences? Starseed Soul Inquiry. Which relationships do you find the most challenging? How can you see things from a different perspective? How are you being called to allow growth through conflict? Okay. Interesting. So karmic relationships, okay, karmic relationship from Orion times, and some starseeds are playing out those karmic relationships here now in these incarnations. But because of the history there, because, okay, so remember, Orion is known to be one of before great conflict and then polarity and eventual unity. So if there was these souls from Orion that still had, even though they transcended that, that's still in their past timelines. It's the history of how they got there. And that's very similar to us having conflict and polarity and separation. And much of that is either about, or all of it is either about religion or real estate, or both religious real estate. And resources. And so Orion definitely had these issues as well. And eventually went through a process of ascension and awakening and people understanding that they're all one and alike, and the conflict just isn't The conflict was an infiltration, much like here with the dark side. This is not the only place dark entities have kind of invaded worlds and turned those natives into something else on, in different ways, and then possess them to work to create different things, but also to feed off of their negative energy. Orion is definitely one of these places, but their timeline is ahead of us. So in order to help us here as humans process our, the collective of ascension here, there have been souls that went through this whole thing in Orion. And I saw this for this another Ponda was what it was called. It was like 6 times as big as Gaia, but very similar, far, far, far away. Very similar, went through this sort of thing, and starseeds from that system and world are also incarnated here. Very much the same sort of thing. Karmic really working out relationships is the name of the game. And because of the nature of kind of who these souls are, they how do I put this? They this discerning thing, like they're very good at discerning, but they're also like kind of ultra skeptical and don't really necessarily, I'm gonna write this down, ultra skeptical as to, what's what and what to trust. And not that things are necessarily not true or real, it's just, again, who and what to trust. It's just this ultra skeptical, like, it's hard to believe if I didn't experience it. So just like taking your word for it is just very difficult to go, okay, I believe because you say that, angels or archangels or divine eternal luminaries or, whatever is real, and I can connect with them and these are the messages and et cetera, even if it's like very on point. This soul group, these people, if this is you, you're like, that's cool and that's like good, trick. How do you, how do I know this is real though, if I don't experience it for myself? But the paradox is that you have to believe it to experience it. You have to open up to that being a thing you can experience it before you can experience it. You know what I mean? Like there has to be this open door to see it. Like I'm getting this vision, like standing in front of a door and somebody's saying, okay, there's a clown on the other side of this door and he has $1 million check for you. And you're just like, that's absolutely ridiculous. Like, that's not true. And it's like, well, and if you don't believe it's true, then you won't open the door and see the clown holding $1 million check for you. You're like, yeah, because I don't believe it. That's not happening. It's crazy to think that's not happening. But the only way to know is to have enough curiosity and belief that, well, maybe there is. a clown on the other side of the door holding $1 million check for me. Maybe there is. So you need to open the door to see and experience what is real. That sort of thing. So there is a paradox there. It's like you can't expect to be healed if you don't believe you can be healed. Same thing. If you're like, that's impossible. Nobody can heal me energetically, from across the world away and over internet and so like all this whatever hippy dippy woo woo energy thing going on. That's just not a thing, and it's not going to make me feel any better. Well, then it won't, because it can't, because you're not allowing for it to happen. You have to at least believe that there is a possibility that could work for you, just like it's worked for so many other people. So it's kind of like that. There needs to be a break in the ultra, look at what I put, this is what I was getting to do. In the ultra skeptical, kind of this weird heart with the ultra skeptical and a line going through it. That ultra skeptical way about you needs to take a chill pill and open up to just, believing that all of this is happening for a reason, and there's more magic and possibilities for you than you may have. Definitely. I'll guarantee it. There's more magic and miracles and amazing things to experience for yourself once you open up, because you are awakening. You're experiencing things like getting into crystals, tarot and oracle, just going down the rabbit holes and putting things together, and you're experiencing synchronicities. You're understanding that certain beings do actually exist. You're seeing a ton of numbers and combinations, maybe the same ones over and over again, 3s, 4s, 2s, specifically 3s, 4s, 2s, 5s. I feel like your birthday, this soul pod, this soul group, their birthday is in the early part of the year. Between January and April. January and April. Oh, excuse me. I am tired, but that is also what happens when I'm channeling. So, do we have any more cards or any more messages to get for these people, this soul group, this soul pod? The color yellow. Color yellow. Yellow is gonna help. Wear it, have it around you. If you already know I'm talking to you, you already know I'm talking to you. So yellow. Has yellow come up a lot? You're into yellow. Wear it, have it around you. Maybe a couple of your favorite things are yellow. You're really getting more attracted to yellow. This is going to help activate you, connect you with light codes, the sun, your solar plexus, obviously. You have had most likely different issues with IBS. And maybe even worse, like Crohn's. This is a soft spot for most of you in this soul pod. Digestive issues, diarrhea, constipation, on and off with being able to tolerate dairy or not, or meat or not, fried foods or not. I'm hearing chocolate is always a winner. You love chocolate. I did not spell that right. Chalk cattle. I don't know what I just... I am definitely tired. And if not chocolate, then coffee. I'm hearing coffee flavored ice cream or coffee. Yeah, like a coffee chocolate. I'm seeing anything chocolate, dark chocolate. I know these are very specific things here. But anyway, you have had issues with your digestive system, solar plexus, IBS, Crohn's possibly, all the things I said about, food and diet being kind of an issue. You have a love-hate relationship with food. Dairy, definitely. It can affect your skin. Like for me, I get literal tumors, like cystic acne in my face. It's bad. I can't do the fake cheese, so I still do cheese here and there, just the tiniest bit, because the fake cheese is all coconut oil, and that's very comedogenic. If you have sensitive skin to breakouts and acne and stuff, just be very careful with the coconut oil and anything coconut oil based, putting it in you or on you. Anywho, but this Soul Pod, they do have an issue with digesting dairy. So moderation for sure. Whew, this is quite a lot of detail. Okay, I'm feeling the Archetypes Oracle. Oh, this should be good. Let's see. Let's see. Okay. This is the Archetype Oracle from it's the Wild Unknown Archetype Oracle. It is the companion to the Wild Unknown Tarot. There's also the Alchemy deck and the Spirit Animal deck. And I'm gonna do a little bit of fire here. Very little. I'm tired. And guided to flip over this card, the Medallion. The Medallion. This is a tool. Medallion. One more time. So, okay. The amulet, the talisman, the heirloom. The passing on of a sacred object is an ancient ritual within families, between lovers, and in tribes across the globe. We gift jewels, treasures, keepsakes, and mementos of all kinds, some of great material value, others that hold emotional resonance, and still others with both. Yet, when these gifts are bestowed upon us, it's important to recognize that they may bind us to an unspoken agreement or promise. When the medallion card appears, be aware of how the object you hold dear may be embedded with unconscious energy or expectations. Materials hold consciousness, and it's time to reconcile the vibration of the objects around you. What do you covet and collect? Why? Is there an object you have held on for years that you are ready to release? Perhaps it is time to reach for the medallion that aligns with your deepest values. Okay, I'm picking up on the next thing here. Really interesting as I read that was your hair and cutting it. It is in itself a talisman. It's something you've been holding on to for long. You've been thinking about cutting it. And if that's the case, you're definitely, I mean, this is like energy. This is the oldest energy. So we're holding on to whatever was going on in our life at this time. And if it's not good, what was going on in your life at this time, or this time, or this time, or this time, if you really think back, then you really should cut your hair. When I started spiritually awaken and I had gone through, hell and back before that, I mean, my hair just it was just not great. Like, it needed to be cut, and I was guided to cut it because to get rid of that energy. So I'm hearing here, as the medallion, for some of you in the soul pod, you have been thinking about cutting your hair, and the shorter the better, because the more you may want to go gradual, so it's not such a shock. Some people can go from super long to super short, like that. I tend to need here, there. I haven't done it in a really long time. But I got really short and then grew it out from there. So if that's a thing that's been coming up for you, it's coming, really consider that. Aside from that, this is to help you with your resonance and energy of what's around you in your environment. What have you collected? What have you kept from your past life? It could be I'm seeing sports stuff, sports memorabilia, habits that have to do with sports, sports, video games, maybe just shopping, and collecting a bunch of things from shopping. I'm seeing purses, shoes, dresses, jackets. So a lot of clothes I'm seeing. And understand that when you're assessing your life and what you have time, energy, and finances for when it comes to your spirituality, it's look at all of these other things that you've put time, energy, and money into that is totally not, doing anything for your evolution. And it's time to flip the script. I'm hearing flip the script on what you hold dear, what is energetically resonating with you, because you are flipping into this crystals thing, and tapping into more of the spiritual stuff. So things are going to shift for you as far as what are the tools. The medallion really it's about material objects, and what is in your space is a reflection of you and your consciousness and your connection and what you're connected to, what you revere, what you hold dear, what you just have made space for that is no longer serving you. So maybe your mother gave you something, a piece of furniture or a piece of art, or anybody. It doesn't have to be your mother, but maybe somebody gave you things that are in your environment, or that is just not Like you keep it because of who gave it to you or who is attached to it, but it's really not, like, it may even irritate you. You may find there's things in your environment that are more irritating to you now if you're really like thinking about it. And maybe you've even been thinking like, I should get rid of some stuff. Like, I need to get rid of this stuff. I don't even like it anymore. I don't want it anymore. Whether you should sell it, give it away. You could do both. It's whatever feels right to you, whatever kind of energy and output you want to do to get rid of certain things. But this is part of karmic relationships, energetic like the stuff that we have a relationship with. So this is more relationship energy and things that are tied to relationships. So your relationship with things and things that are tied to relationships. And this whole like working out karmic relationships, and just the idea of relationships and conflict and love and intimacy and sex and being sovereign and someone who, you know, being being able to be, so autonomous, independent, while having close relationships, collaborations, and different, you know, the conflict is different ideas and ideals and understandings of things. So, and which has to do with separation, with not seeing eye to eye, with having different perceptions. And one of the big things for this soul pod group and these people in the soul pod is to rearrange. I gotta write this down. Rearrange the way we communicate. So there's like communication, expression of oneself, expression, just how people relate. There's this thing with challenges and vulnerability and intimacy, and really just feeling safe and secure, and not, you know, all the things that are dark and, you know, like that cause us to separate in relationships. So like, you know, keeping the truth from your friends or partners or lovers or whatever, like not being fully honest, you know, having secrets, being deceptive, not being faithful, just generally having an imbalance in how to share, just like literally share space geographically, like within like big spaces or in homes. But there's this component to what lies beneath, I'm hearing. What lies beneath? What's under the surface? Same thing, under the surface. The unspoken. This soul pod finds itself and they come together and they have relationship issues because kind of inherently they feel on it. They feel energy. They're highly sensitive energetically. They're definitely empaths, obviously, if that wasn't already obvious. They're definitely empaths, highly sensitive empaths. Most likely all or most of these would score really high on the empath spectrum as psychic physical empaths. And so yeah, what lies beneath, what's under the surface, what's unspoken about just knowing how the other person or people feel and not being, you know, forthcoming and honest and like the human condition can be very confusing when it comes to our instincts, our intuition, our psychic abilities to know what's going on, but be confused by what people say or do that is in conflict of what you know to be, you know, what you're feeling and all of that. And this is definitely played out here and elsewhere, like Orion. That this, when it came to relationships, it was like, what is reality? What am I feeling? And what is transpiring? And it's like, I know the truth, but you're hiding the truth from me. I can't trust you. I can't get vulnerable with you. There's just always something going on below the surface that just keeps people from really truly connecting, from, you know, really truly being in love, being intimate, being vulnerable. There's always this like level of I need to preserve and save myself. And so that is part of, and because, so that is part of your soul mission. And that is why maybe commitment and relationships are a problem for you. I can't spell right now. Because, yeah, part of your soul mission is to work this out, to heal this, and your soul pod. So you're circulating in a soul pod of others that are doing the exact same thing. So you're mirroring each other in different ways. And the sooner you can figure all this out, sort it out, pull it apart and see it for what it is and begin to work with yourself. I'm also seeing that this soul pod likes to be with people. They're social. They do like to date. They do like to be in relationships, but this is why. It also has kept, you know, it's just enough kind of chaos and distraction to keep people from themselves. Remember, this is what Elo said in the beginning. Many distractions. Stay with yourself. And that means, you know, managing relationships, shifting relationships, staying away from romantic relationships while you're in transition of your, you know, consciousness. It's like, it's the same thing, like, you know, if you're an alcoholic and you need to, you know, not drink, it's kind of like that. Like, there needs to be, like, yeah, you're here to figure out, you know, one of the things you're here to do is to figure out relationships, karmic relationships, and how to be energetically connected and very sensitive, but also very vulnerable and very intimate with others, and collaborate and live and do, you know, all the things. Yeah. And there's also this sense of like being the savior, ironically, the savior. I want my pen right. The savior, hero. So what that means is like, again, focus is outward. It's just easy. It's distracting. Like, you know, it's like, yeah, back to the distracting. So aside from the rabbit holes, there's like many distractions. Stay with yourself. It has to do with relationships, others. Yeah, oh my gosh, there's so many different things that came through here. Okay, so this went on. Oh my gosh, it's already been it's an hour. Wow. I can't believe it. It's 11:33. I'm being told that's it. I hope this has helped you. I know that there's just a lot that came through. But this is truly to validate you where you're at with the beginnings of your ascension, within a year, within a few months. If this resonates with you, if you're part of this soul pod, just know that what's coming is, whether it's you're guided to pursue and to connect with me and my community and work with me, great. But in one way, shape, or another, you are guided to find a community, find a spiritual guide and healer, and for you to, you know, connect to. Again, the question here was like, who do you trust? You know, what's true? Like all of these things. As long as you want to know the answers and you want the truth, you will be guided to people, places, and experiences that will give you what you need, and you know, the truth in all sorts of ways for you to experience, and things will they won't feel so disjointed. But doing this thing about your space and your objects and clearing out what no longer serves you is only going to make room for what needs to come in. And that's all part of the tools that are going to help you move forward as well. Okay, so with that said, thank you so much for watching this reading and these messages that have come through for you. Thank you to Elo for being here and opening up the portal for all of this information to come through. Lastly, he's coming through and saying, I am with you. Call on me to help you. If anything, this is also part of your awakening, is knowing that I'm real, knowing that you can connect with me, but having it have nothing to do with religion, with Bible, with scripture. I'm a person who was incarnate like you. I can help you. There's a lot to get through and understand, and you're not meant to do this alone. He used to tell me this all the time. You're not meant to do this alone. There is support on both sides of the veil. I want to connect with you more. I love you so much. I will be coming through more and more and more in the future through Sister Infinity, and I hope to see you soon. Call on me whenever you like. I am I show up. My symbols are hearts and threes and rabbits. All of those were talked about and part of these messages. Elo sending love and light. He's showing just like opening up his hands and all this beautiful gold and divine light coming straight at you, to warm you like the sun, to let it invigorate you, to warm you up, to activate you and your light codes. You are a divine being of light. There is many beautiful divine beings and that are here to help you and connect with you. And there is so much more magic for you to experience. Things are just getting started. Please find your people, find your community, find loving support. Please check out me, my website, my community, to see if it's right for you. And until next time, much love. See you later, alligators. Bye for now.